Hello, everybody. I've not done a live in a long time, and I have been in the trenches doing some really cool stuff that I'm going to show with you today. My There's a little piece of me that says I shouldn't show you all of these things. I've got this pretty epic thing called the master chart or the master campaign created that I'm going to walk you through today, and I'm also going to walk you through just some basic CRM stuff that's like it was like mind blowing to me when I learned it. I went to this active campaign event last Wednesday, and they taught me some stuff, and I was just like, "That's a thing!" Like, and it's that easy to do. So, like, if you don't have this stuff set up in your business, like, this is what I take people through when I work with them one on one. This is the exact process, like, condensed into like an hour long Facebook Live, maybe. I don't know how long this is going to be, but thanks for coming and hanging out. But I'm just going to show you, like, start to finish, like, how to pick out all of the different prospect states and how to like build the business automation around it and how to automatically nurture those people. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm here in a wonderful tool called Lucidchart. I'm going to make me a little smaller. And it's a free tool, and you can make some boxes and stuff. So anytime I get on a call with someone, the first thing I do is there's a 30-minute call, and that's just me deciding for a good fit. Like, so for me, like, I'm Christian. I would not promote a business that is like homosexual relationship, success or something. Like, I could not promote that. It would be incongruent with who I am. So that's why I have a 30-minute call. And then after that 30-minute call, this is the process I go through with people. And it usually takes about an hour. But today I'm just going to be recreating my own business, so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing for myself behind the scenes as the dude who knows all this stuff. So at the top of this map, you always start with traffic. There's always some way that people, mapping is the new KL Gianna says, there's always some way that like people are getting kind of in touch with you. And so you just list all your traffic sources at the top, okay? So you might have, let me pull up my map on the other screen here. So I've got a site called mattwrightconsulting.com, which is not quite complete yet, but mwc.com. Okay, so that's traffic source number one. People might organically search it and get there. There might be Facebook organic, which, by the way, on your website is going to show differently. And then you might have Facebook paid traffic. And these, again, these are just all the options. And we're going to go through and we're going to do some color coding so you can tell what's actually being worked on. And then, then you might have podcasts. That's something I want to get into, and that's something that like everybody should get into once they have their marketing messaging sufficiently developed. So then we got LinkedIn articles. That's at Achilles. Yeah, that's not going to work. Articles. That's another solid source if you keep up with it. And then you got LinkedIn messaging is another good one. So I think those are all the sources. And then of course you have, I am very particular about my chart. There cannot be an extra space right there. And then of course everybody, what the heck tool did it give me here? There we go. And then everybody's always going to have some level of referral business. Okay, so that's step number one, is you list all your traffic sources. So step number two, you might list out your sales process, or you might list out your conversion points. So yeah, normally I charge $250 for this call. I'm doing here on the screen. You can go through and do it yourself though, and then that cost right there rolls into the cost of being a client with myself. So then usually I'm selling people into, either project management consulting, or I'd say done for you projects. Those are like the two things. Yep. So then what you do is you just connect your what's called your conversion point. Sorry, I like the little round arrows. You connect your conversion point over to your products. So we got products right here at the bottom. We have our conversion points. What do people do before they see you, before they become a client, right? Because if we can get more people onto that point, then you get more people and you get more money, right? That's a good thing. Easy. So how do we get more people there? Well, we just got to connect our traffic sources to are conversion points, okay? So what happens in between MWC.com and 30-minute call? You might have a link on your site that's like, hey, book a call right here. But I have a friend, Sonia, and she's super, super awesome what she does. She does what's called user experience stuff. So it's sort of like website design, but it's more like sales psychology kind of combined. It's super cool. And we did one of these maps for her, and she was telling me that she's having everybody get a freebie, and then having them download and then at the end of the freebie, there's an invite to the call. And that has been particularly effective for her, is to have them download the freebie and then do the call, rather than just be like, hey, here's a call, right? Because then you'll end up with a bunch of wasted time. So what do we have in between here? Well, for me, I have a couple things. Right now, I already have a case study developed. So I'd say mark case study, and there might be an opt-in page before that. So we just connect those two. And of course, MWC connects to the opt-in, right? And then the other thing I have is actually let's copy both of these. A 3-part video series. Which indoctrinates people to my way of project management consulting. So, what happens at the end of these things? Well, it's pretty straightforward. At the end of either of those things, there's a little link that says, book a call. So, they both link to the 30-minute call. What happens after 30-minute call? Sell them on the mapping call. What happens after that? Sell them on consulting there, or done for you there. Pretty cool. So, now so what you can do is, as you're going through and you're mapping your own business, you can be like, oh, like, I have my website, but my website doesn't have a link to, like, book a call, or, like, it has the link to book a call, but, like, there's no value built before that, or there's no way to subscribe to an email list, or, like, oh my gosh, I'm getting a bunch of leads off my website, but nothing off organic, and nothing off paid, and nothing off podcasts, and nothing off articles, and nothing off LinkedIn messaging, and nothing off referrals. Like, those are all huge opportunities for you. And referral and podcasts, I mean, if you network right, you can do a couple podcasts for free. Referrals are, of course, free and amazing. So we'll shift that down, and we'll go ahead and connect that to there. And then usually off Facebook Organic, somebody might come directly to a call. They might be like, hey, Matt, I heard you do this. Hey, man, okay, let's set up a call. And then you might just take them right to the call, right? Facebook paid, of course, you're probably going to take them over to the opt-in here for one of these things. And we also, on this diagram, we also make an assumption that all of these top-level things connect. Like, a referral might bring someone to MWC.com. Facebook Organic might bring somebody to MWC.com. A podcast might bring someone here, or it might bring someone, here, or the LinkedIn article might bring someone directly there. But it just gets messy to do all that. So I recognize that, but there are some things that I choose to leave off so that you can actually tell what's going on. And then you can also see that this, if we just scooch some of these around, then the map can look a little more clean. So let's go ahead and clean this guy up. There we go. Let's get it spaced right. Yeah. Alright, so the spacing's really good. I also have a couple LinkedIn articles published, and so then those go to 30-minute call. I'm not doing anything with LinkedIn messaging, and I'm not doing anything with Facebook paid right now. So what I do for the things that people aren't working on is I make it this dark gray color. So let's say I'm doing video editing, and that's something that I used to sell, but I don't really sell it anymore. So the 30-minute call might come right over here, direct to video editing, but I'm not really selling video editing. So I can reflect that as part of my business, but I can also just gray it out. And that lets anybody looking at this map, here's what I'm selling, here's how much it costs, etc., etc. So let me go back to the title of the slide. So now the next thing is that this map right here, which I've roughly created, it's a good map of the business itself. Let me size me up. It's a good map of the business itself. Like, people are going to go here, and then they're going to go here and here and here. But there's additional stuff that happens in between, like email marketing, or maybe you're doing messenger marketing, or et cetera, right? So I don't reflect entire email campaigns on this chart, but what you can do is you can come in on these arrows, and let's talk about marketing. Let me size myself. Let's talk about marketing transparency for a second, because I see so many people, this bugs the hell out of me. Okay? When I sign up for your strategy call, that is not equivalent to an email opt-in. And in fact, let's say you had 100 people on your list of 200 people sign up for calls, and that's how you've built your list. Well, it's not a transparent way of building your list. So you're actually probably more likely to burn the connections you have with the people doing that. Now, the next thing is it's actually illegal to add someone to a mailing list without their permission, right? And the exception to this, I would say, is if you have like let's say I ran like a farmer's market, right, for like 3 years or something, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've got an email list. I'll tell you when, and they physically wrote their email down. Like, yeah, you can add it. It'll be all right. But the thing is, if you don't build your email list right from the beginning with proper opt-ins, then you're actually going to hurt your deliverability over time. So whenever you're having these opt-in forms and stuff, make sure you're actually having people properly opt in. That's going to help your deliverability. So in between, let's say Mark case study and 3-part video series. Let's just take these two. Right? I could say, well, that opt-in leads to an automation. The automation could be subscribe to cold campaign, which I'll show you what the cold campaign is here in a second, etc. And I'll just shift this up and shift this down. Cool. And so we can say in our opt-in messaging, you could say subscribe to our newsletter in order to get this free value. And that free value builds the relationship, know, like, and trust, and then they buy stuff from you, right? So, but you want to always be transparent in your headline. So I'll show you a live page I have right now. So it's MWC-opt-in. So right here, let's see how I'm being transparent in my messaging. So free 3-part video series reveals the top 3 things that prevent companies from being massively profitable and put a glass ceiling on profits. And then I use, this is fun, I learned this recently, a negative headline. So this is a positive headline. It says free, and then this is the 3 things they're going to learn. Tell them it's free, and then we tell them like the reverse. Like, if you don't do this, like, this bad thing's going to happen. I didn't actually do it there. Apologies. I think I did it for the Mark case study one. One sec. There we are. Okay, so how did I use marketing transparency on my own thing? As I said, you are not opting into a million emails. I promise to deliver only the case study, and I do. So don't overthink this stuff. Like, make it easy. And so you can see, like, I use basically the same headline. Free thing I'm delivering reveals. Or like, free thing I'm delivering reveals, And I just tell them what it is. And there's like how-to headlines, or there's like, top 3, or, there's a bunch of different headlines you can use. A lot of them are formulaic, and of course I've got a little social proof here from my wonderful friend Sonia. I use the same thing on both pages. Working on collecting more of those. So, now let's talk about tag mapping. So, this is how you can actually get people not to just opt in, but be transparent in the opt-in and get them into a place where you're automatically building the relationship with them. So let's talk about tag mapping. Oops, not that one. So tag mapping is you need to think about it like this. Lists are like that's the biggest section of contacts in your email list that you're going to deal with. And then under that, you're going to have tags. Okay? And so think of a tag as like a small unit within the list, okay? So if we have, let's call this program 1, okay? Let's say you're a coach, program 1. Okay, you might have program 1, program 2, and program 3. Now, the problem is if you have, let's call this, get up here, call this client list. The problem is if you have your client list and you have, this is going to get real fun. Let's call this one your global list. We got to send that to back. Global list. The global list includes everybody. So if you're having, this would be what I call basic email list architecture is what I call it. So you'd have your client list, and you might have your prospect list or something. And you could also do the prospect list as tag. It's all a little bit interchangeable. But this is, I'd say, like the very basics that you need. You can have a global list. That's everybody. Like, if they schedule an appointment with you, anything. Like, the global list is just, think of it as a big holding container for any contact that comes in touch with your business. And then within that, you'll have, of course, different lists. And these lists, they stand on their own. They're not technically part of the global list. That would be a segment. So a segment might be this tag. And let me just write tag on this and size it up a little bit. just so you guys know. Tag program 2 and tag. Now, one of the things that I figured out recently is that there's sometimes limits to how much you can segment things. So like here, let me go into Active Campaign right now. So I'm in my account. If I go over to campaigns and I just say, okay, simple way to boost your open rates. Got a bunch of campaigns in drafts. I'll hit next. Okay, so if I come down here to lists and I say edit, and none of these guys are tagged. So, yeah, here we are, segment selected lists. So if I try to keep adding conditions, you hit a limit to how many conditions you can add. I think. I thought I hit a limit at 5. Huh, weird. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know everything. But the other thing you can do within lists is I call them tag groups. And so what you can do is say there's all these people. So tag group programs. Move that all the way up. There we go. So a tag group would be a way in which you can address all of the tags for the programs. So instead of having to say, you know, this tag and this tag and this tag and this tag, what you could do is you could just say tag group, and then it would catch all of those people. So this is a new map that I'm including as I develop CRM accounts for people. So let's get on to the really fun stuff. So I made this wicked diagram recently. I call it the master campaign, and it is all of the kind of what I would consider to be essential campaigns if somebody's running a webinar, and for people who are just like first coming into your business. I'm just going to check my levels here on Facebook real quick because I just haven't done diagram recently. I call it, all right, we're sounding good. So these are, think of these as taking 3 different angles to present value to people who first enter your email list. So when somebody subscribes, don't just be like, here you go, here, I'm going to put you on just the global email list, right? Because if you know your avatar well, you can choose to create these campaigns and deliver value in a targeted way. You know, this goes beyond just, hey, we have an onboarding sequence, or we've got a 7 email sequence we send everybody through. It can be a lot more dynamic than that. And the thing is, you can reuse this stuff. I had a guy, he said to me, size me up. I had a guy said to me, he's like, Matt, you know, I only want to send emails like once a month or something, or like once a week. And I was like, okay, cool, but like, the thing is, when you do that, you just lower the chance that somebody's going to open it, really. So like, I checked, there's this guy I follow, his name is James Friel. Talk with him sometimes, he's pretty big in the ClickFunnels community, smart dude. And he sends emails like, I don't know, once a day or on weekdays or every 2 days or something, right? So I checked how many emails I had opened from him, and it was like, say he delivered 10 emails, I opened like 3 of them. Imagine if we had only sent 3 emails in the same period of time. Lower relationship building. With that said, I think it's important to at least automate the first bit of your relationship building. So let's get into it. So these campaigns are, so there's the cold, the mid-level, and then the low-hanging fruit campaign. And they all of these things lead into each other. You do one, and then the next, and then the next. So, of course, we start with traffic, and then just like on our business map over here, we've got our opt-in for a lead magnet, and you can see subscribe to cold campaign right there. And then this is what the cold campaign is delivering within its own automation. So now you have a choice here on your opt-in page. You can say in your headline and in your marketing messaging, remember always being transparent, we could say, you know, success. Now check out this quick 3-minute video on how to do Y, you know, or like check your email inbox in 10 minutes, you know, and then you can put a delay automation in your email automation and then deliver the thing, so it actually gives them time to watch that video that's in between there, where you have another chance to, say, immediately book a call with them or something. And always remember that the first email you send is going to have the highest open rate to like a new contact. So you could choose to directly show the offer on the page, or you could just deliver them the email magnet, call it a thank you page, or create a thank you page and call it a day. So now we have simple content emails. So throughout all these emails, you want to be delivering value specific to the problem that they are dealing with. And at the end of it, like, just tag a little PS. Hey, if you want to, book a call with me, click right here. It's that easy. But the point of these emails, I mean, you could do 5, you could do 7, you could do, I wouldn't do less than 3. Probably 5 to like 14 is like the sweet spot. 2 weeks, 1 week of content spaced out at a regular rate. And by the way, all these are pretty much 24 hours apart, so we'll just note 24 in there. And of course, this one will be 24 as well. So all of those things, of course, lead to book a call, and then at the end of building value with them, you could send a direct invite to a call, which would be more like just talking about the benefits, negating reasons why they wouldn't book a call with you, or another effective email you can send is just say, hey, reply to this email and ask this question. Actually, a while back, Frank Kern did this really cool thing. Check this out. Frank Kern inbound texting. And you can do this with ActiveCampaign. I actually have a client who implemented it for herself for subscriptions, which is really cool. Come on, thingy, load. So another thing you could do here in the cold campaign is you could just at the bottom of these emails, or in the direct call invite, just have it be like 2 lines, like, hey, if you need help, send a text, right? And of course he explains the framework wonderfully here, and then he says inbound texting. So, and if you have questions about our services, I'll actually text them right now. I'll see if they're still doing this. Inbound texting. So I'm going to go to Messenger, or my SMS thing right here. 858 239 2008. Hello? Is this Frankie? Hey, Frankie. Alright, cool. So I just sent Frank Kern's team a text. Let's see if they reply. That's a real number. And you can tell this blog post is old because, well, he's in Miami now or whatever. Got on that Grant Cardone train. So, let's talk more about the cold campaign. And of course, if they don't book a call, then this is when you continue to develop that. You go to the mid-level campaign. And of course, if they book the call, close, fulfill, get that money. So let's talk about the mid-level campaign. So the mid-level campaign, of course, traffic, which could be an inbound, which could be people you already have on your list, or you could bring people direct into this campaign. And maybe you could split them with a tag that says, if they haven't gone through the cold campaign, then send them to the cold campaign as an if-else statement at the end of this, right? And so now the cool thing about this campaign is it talks about using a teaser offer, which think of it really simply as just a more lighthearted way, or just taking a different marketing angle on the same offer. So if it's an invite to a strategy session or a mapping session or something, right? Then just present it more lighthearted. Let's see. Here we can go find some emails. Because what's fun is watching through. Let's go through here. So it's fun looking through these. Okay. It's always funny. Frank Kern seems to use the same headlines over and over and over again. Deadline, final notice, last call, expires tonight, final chance. And it's dying because deadline, final notice, deal expiring, warning, hurry, urgent. And he uses all the same stuff. But if we go Frank Kern, case study, it's a really cool way to do it. So these 4 emails right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are actually the same 4 emails. I'll just click in and out real quick so you can see. 2, 3, 4. And what's even more interesting is if you observe the times at which these were sent. 24, 24, and 23, 23, as far as the day dates. So there must have been some action that I took here that caused me to get the second one. And it could be that maybe because I didn't open it, so this is 11:56 a.m., because I didn't open it, then they resent it at 4:31 with a different subject line. Test results, do not share. And I'll admit it, I was scared. And then behind the scenes, and then you asked for it. And all these are the exact same. And what it is it's a different he's getting you to watch a video, and this is expired, so I can't show you the page. Maybe it'll show up for a second though. Okay, yeah, so case study and video, and then a button would probably appear on that page afterwards, where you would buy the thing. And again, this is value-based marketing, which is so awesome, because this video is like, how long is that? It says 037 right there. But there's another campaign that he did that was, he did a 50-minute video for it. And the thing is yeah, so many options with this stuff. So, basically, second campaign, you take a different angle. And now let's talk about engagement tagging real quick, just as a tag, and then we'll come back into this campaign. So there's this really amazing thing you can do inside ActiveCampaign. If you click on automations, my nose itches. You go create automation, and if you just scroll down here, they've got these awesome 2 automations called Part 1 engagement tagging and Part 2 engagement tagging. And all you do is I'll walk you through. Okay. So all you do is whenever somebody, again, these things work. So contact reads any email or clicks a link in email, or contact visits my website, then they exit the automation right here. So they exit part 1. And then that puts them back at the top of the automation. So it takes them out of wherever they're at and puts them back at the top. So it puts them at the top, it adds the tags engaged and recent activity, and then it removes the tag disengaged and inactive, and then it waits 7 days, and then it removes the tag inactive activity or recent activity, and then removes the tag engaged and adds the tag disengaged, waits for 30 days, adds inactive and disengaged. So, and then of course it restarts as soon as they take any of these actions at the top here. So that's engagement tagging. So if you want to do a special promo or something, right? This is like you literally go through and you just say automation, like which automation do you want to use here? Which automation do you want to use here? And then you just say, on this one, you don't actually have to do any setup at all. So that's engagement tagging. And what you could do is you could segment, your global list by, prospects and recent activity. Hey, I've been spooky creeping watching you around the internet, and I saw that you looked at my website 10 times, right? So I'm going to send you this special deal for 30% off on this dress, right? I don't sell dresses, but that's an example of what can happen. Another thing you can do is conditional content. So you could set up an automation that says, if they've viewed the dress page on my website 10 times, then show them this content. And if they have viewed the shorts page 5 times, then send them content about shorts and don't send them content about dresses, which is really cool. So, now, let me get back over to my things here. So, let's talk about the difference between program automation, and I'm just going to size myself up here. Actually, oops, set that back up. Just adjusting my screen a little bit. Okay, let's finish up talking about the campaigns real quick. So, that's engagement tagging. So you could specifically interrupt the engagement tagging if they choose not to, because if they've gone through this whole cold campaign right here, and they've gone through part of the mid-level campaign for however long, and they don't take action, well, that's going to be low engagement, right? But if they do choose to opt in, then you could do the sales video. And let's talk about the relationship actually here between these two things. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight these two things. Highlight them in blue. So this right here, you might first deliver that case study as a PDF to them. But if they don't look at it, or it's 8 pages long or 40 pages long or whatever, right? They might not look at it, but it still needs to be done right. I'd say the most important thing as far as your sales go, not as far as business ethics go, because you should always deliver good things to people, is the marketing that you put on that thing. But we're presenting the same thing in different formats. Someone might be a reader, or someone might be a podcast person, or somebody might be a video person. So the first thing you can do is you can lay out your video or your webinar or whatever it is, and then create your lead magnet from that as a PDF to use in the cold campaign, and then use the video in the mid-level campaign. So now if we get into invite to call, no, send more value, which would be low-hanging fruit campaign, which is just a lot more. The thing is the more people know you and are familiar with you and interested in what you have to sell, then the more direct you can kind of be with the offers. So, of course, apply, no, send more value, which brings them to low-hanging fruit campaign, and apply, convert, close and fulfill, etc. So now, last one is, again, outgoing email to existing list. I actually want to add this one up here. It's a fun arrow. It's like a little S. Okay, sweet. So basically, all right here, it's just outgoing email or a new opt-in. And if they apply or reply directly to your email, you send them the details like, hey, here's how I get the thing. And in that email, you could even be super direct with price. Oh, it costs, $2,000 to work with me, $2,000 a month for 3 months or whatever, or I'm selling a year coaching program for $10,000, etc. And if you want to apply or something, if you want to see if it's fit, do here. So go yes, convert, no, obviously send more value. At which point, this point is where I would take them to the daily email or the global list. That's where I take them if they've gone through all this stuff. Let me write. Just want to color these guys with an action color. We'll make it orange, sure. And we'll color these guys back to white. Awesome. So, this guy goes over to here, and this guy goes over to here. And then this guy goes, of course, to the global list. So this is the macro flow, here to here to here to here to here. Pretty cool? Pretty cool. All right. Let's talk about the ultimate webinar campaign that I have dreamed up myself. I need a drink of water. We've been going for 30 minutes. I've been talking long. All right. Let's talk about the super duper webinar campaign, which I am building for someone in Kartra right now, as soon as we get the emails. So, let me move back over here. All right. So, webinar viewership campaigns, and we'll also talk about the techniques of how to do this. So, of course, you have all of the stuff that goes in beforehand for a webinar, an opt-in page, Facebook ads, marketing to your normal list. So, webinar saw 25%, and the thing is, you could tag first time, second time if they've already seen the webinar. If they've seen 25% of the webinar, or if they've seen 50% of the webinar, what you might do, there's two actions you could take. You could say, hey, I saw, you were on the webinar, but you dropped out pretty quick. Maybe it wasn't a good time for you. Do you want to come back and watch it again? Here's a link to the opt-in page again. And you could do it as a replay. Or what you could do is you could allow them to watch it on demand. Some people are, they know what's going on a webinar. It's a sales tool. And, yeah. And so maybe they just want to skip to the end. They want to know what you got. And I think that that's a very valid option to offer people. And the other thing is if they say no or something, what you could do is you could send them an email that would appear to be unrelated. And you could say, hey, I've opened up some extra time on my calendar this month to help people for free. And, then do all the disclaimer stuff and build the value. And then they hop on the phone with you and they sell. Pretty cool. And then, of course, if they didn't see the pitch, then you could say send message. That goes straight to the offer. Send messaging on the offer or re-invite them. So there's some options here. And then, of course, if they take no on that, then you can take them to phone team, straight to free strategy session, free help. Maybe they just don't want to watch a webinar. They'd rather talk to a human. And then, of course, if they watch the webinar and then they see the pitch and they don't buy, you would send them the good old classic objection sequence. And if they don't take action on that, then, hey, we got the mid and the cold sequence. So let's zoom out. And so this would go all the way up here. The whole thing starts again. All of this is automatic. Imagine if you just write all of these emails, which it's a lot. It's like 20-ish emails, because there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. If you do a 7 email objection sequence, and then you got this one here and this one here, which is the same thing, so it's like 20. Yeah, it's like 20 emails. So then, of course, if they do the checkout page, which you could do its own event tracking on with ActiveCampaign or with a Facebook Pixel, etc., and then, of course, you could handle objections through advertisements on Facebook or something like that. And so checkout page, if they purchase, yes, close and fulfill. We'll make that green, get the money. And sweet. So this is what I call the master campaign. It is pretty darn epic. So with that being said, now let's talk about the difference real quick. Let me just center myself up here. Okay, let's talk about the difference between automatic lead nurture and program automation. Okay, I was talking with a guy, and he was like, yeah, man, I'm working with this person, and basically whenever I add a client, they're gonna like get all the emails for the program where they schedule their calls, and he's a health coach, and so they're gonna get their lab work, and they're gonna get all this cool stuff. I was like, cool, man. What about the rest of the people on your list? And he had none of the cold campaign, mid-level campaign, low-hanging fruit campaign stuff set up. So whenever you're like shopping for like an email, like CRM or something, number one, I'd recommend ActiveCampaign. It's awesome. They actually told me that a lot of people move from especially ConvertKit over to ActiveCampaign because there's more powerful automations. But just understand the difference from the start between automating the delivery of your program so that you don't have to like call them and like, hey, did you take this step and everything, which you could also automate with deals through ActiveCampaign, and the automation of lead nurture, which is delivering value to them so that they can get into the program. So just wanted to talk about that. And then, of course, we talked about engagement tagging. I'm just looking at my topics here. And webinar follow-up. So the last thing to talk about is video tracking. So let me size this back. Okay. So if we look back at the webinar percent viewership campaign, which is a way cool thing, in order to perform this, these tracking bits right here, we have to have something that tracks videos. So you can use Wistia for this, but my first choice with this would be EverWebinar because it'll automatically send it. And it consistently informs. I see that people are under this kind of delusion of like, oh, I've got to send all my emails through ActiveCampaign. Like if someone schedules with me, I got to send them the reminder email through ActiveCampaign. It's like no. Like if you've got, if you're using MoonClerk for payments, let MoonClerk send the MoonClerk emails. And if you're using Acuity for scheduling, let Acuity send the Acuity emails. And if you're using ActiveCampaign for marketing, let ActiveCampaign send the marketing emails, man. Like, and I wouldn't see it as like, oh man, like I have to use all these 3 tools. It's like, because the thing is payment emails, they're always going to be the same. You never got to go in there after you set them up. Scheduling emails, pretty much always going to be the same in there after you set them up. The marketing emails is the one where you'd be spending most of your time. So I would pick the platform where the marketing emails are easiest to deal with. So that's that. So as far as video tracking, let's talk about how to do video tracking without EverWebinar. EverWebinar costs about $500. I think it's a one-time purchase, which is really super cool that they did that. But if you search, let's see where this is. They have this thing called AC Video Tracker. Let me see. This is being really goofy about having me log in. Just a sec. Oh, he's charging for it now. I used to get this for free, dude. 67. Oh, that's nothing, dude. I may just buy that. But yeah, AC Video Tracker is the tool. It's by a guy named Big Jason, who's been doing email marketing for 20 years. He's got his own developer. that does these things, and they work kind of closely with ActiveCampaign, which is pretty cool. So if you want to do the tracking um, outside of EverWebinar, this is the tool to do it. It does also work with Vimeo. I like Wistia best for webinars because, of course, you can do all the customizations with it. Yeah. So that is all the stuff I could possibly share with you. It's been a serious brain dump with business mapping, tag mapping, lead nurture, program automation versus delivery automation, engagement tagging, video tracking, and webinar follow-up. Sincerely hope you've enjoyed this. If you are interested in having this work done for you by myself, I don't outsource it currently, then get in touch with me through Facebook Messenger. We'll set up a call. If it's a good fit, we'll go on to the mapping session. And then if you like what you see on the mapping session and you feel like there's some opportunity and you want me to build all the stuff out for you, then we'll build it out. So, that being said, peace. Talk soon, guys.